Hello YouTube, Fred Bergeron from Inaxsys here, hope you're doing well. In today's video, I'm going to show you some advanced functionality that is available with the ICT DIN Rail power supplies, basically. This feature is basically the fact that the analog power supply can display analog values of the two DC outputs and also the core voltage and the total amount of current that we're currently using on the power supply. So this is quite useful. You know, if you have a very large building with multiple electrical rooms, to create a floor plan showing the status of the power supplies in these rooms. And that can help you, figuring out if a specific power supply is overloaded and maybe you should add another one, or maybe spread the load across multiple power supplies are there that are not as used that much. So this is done by creating data values and variables. Okay, and so now I'm going to show you exactly how we can do this using the Protege GX platform from ICT. All right, so let's have a look at the programming steps for this feature to work. What I'm showing now is basically a floor plan that I created earlier. You can see it's showing the live value of the DC output for V1 plus and then V2 plus. Okay, so that's to confirm that the output is correct, is accurate. All right, there's no voltage drops. This is the core voltage, inside the power supply, and then this is the amount of current output I'm using. Obviously, I'm just powering up a small amount of devices on this kit, okay? But on a real job site, you can actually see the graph on the power supply and also look at the floor plan. So imagine you have an apartment tower or an office tower where you have maybe a room full of modules every couple floors, without having to go on each power supply to see the status of the current output being used. You can see this from either a status page or a floor plan. Okay, so in this example, I just created a quick floor plan to show you the results of this programming step. Okay, so the first step, obviously, is to understand the sequence of channels that we have on the power supply. So if the first step is to go under automation and data values. Okay, so the first one, if I just increase this a little bit, okay, so the first one is the V1 plus output on the power supply. Second one is V2 plus. The third one is the core voltage of the power supply. And channel number 4 is the total current output. Okay, so you simply have to add these 4 channels or the 4 data values in a sequence. Okay, just give them a name. There's nothing else to change in the settings, just to create the data value. So for us, the data value is like a container that will basically store the value of the channel in real time. Okay, so every second or so, every 5 seconds, I think it's going to update and it's going to change the value on the floor plan or the status page. Okay, so first step, create the data value. Second step, again under automation, is to create the variable. So the variable is what will translate the data value into something we can display. In this case, it's in DC voltage or in amps, for channel number 4. Okay, so the trick here though, you have to adjust the scale. Okay, so I want to show 2 digits after the comma or the dot. So the scale is going to be 0.01. So it's going to show 2 digits for the voltage level and then another 2 digits for after the dot. Okay, the rest we can leave it default, but the thing is you have to make sure you link the correct data value to each variable. Okay, so again, we created the same list, the same sequence, okay, and we make sure we match like this. We match the data value for each channel, so 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Then, we need to assign these values, or sorry, the variables to the analog expander, which is power supply number 1 in my example here on my kit. So I want to go to expanders, analog expanders, I select number 1, switch address 1 here, and then under each channel, you will enable the channel and assign the correct data value. Okay, so channel 1 is V1 plus, channel 2 is V2 plus, channel 3 is the core voltage, and channel 4 is the current consumption of the device, of the power supply. Okay, so make sure you set the enable channel option on all of these and that you have linked the correct data value. If you mix them, obviously the variable will show the wrong data for each channel. So you have to make sure you're in the same sequence, so 1 to 4 with what is listed below. If you need a reminder, you can download the analog expander manual from the ICT.co website and basically maybe at the 2/3 of the manual, there's a list of channels in the proper sequence, okay? So that's it. After you save the changes on the analog expander, remember this is gonna require module update on it after the download is completed. So if I go back to site and controllers, I can see that download was succeeded, and it was done a few minutes ago, basically because I had already programmed this before filming. So I know we're ready to do the module updates. You can right click here, select update modules if you want to update all of them, or you can go to expanders, analog expander, and then right click on the one we just programmed and you select update module. So the the controller will send the power supply the command to reboot, and then if you go to your floor plan, it's going to show the changes. Okay. Quickly, I'm going to show you how I did the floor plan actually. So if you go to floor plan editor, you had a new one. I added every variable that we created earlier in the proper sequence, okay? And I simply just added a text entry for each so we know which one is which, okay? And then I saved, okay? So now if I go to the floor plan view, you see I can have all my voltage output status and the core voltage, and I'm using, basically this 0.43 amps right now in the system, okay? So this was how to program and display the analog values of a ICT DIN Rail power supply. The programming steps are the same if it's a 2 amps or the 8 amps power supply. And again, this is another advantage of using these supervised power supplies, because you can actually display the status of it. And also if you reach, let's say this is a 4 amp, like if you reach close to 3 amps, let's say, you can actually create value compare functions to trigger an alert to the front desk, or maybe even send an alert to the monitoring station saying that the power supply is about to be overloaded. And there's also the trouble inputs for the power supply that will report any other type of failures or statuses with the power supply. Okay, so I hope you liked the video. Remember, Inaxsys is a proud distributor of ICT products in Canada. Okay, and if you need help, we have a tech support team here available to help. We have a sales team to help, with sales support and pre-sales. We can do demonstrations of the ICT products or other products Inaxsys is selling. Okay, so again, thanks for watching. My name is Fred Bergeron from Inaxsys. See you soon.